glad we had a reason to come reconvene here today. That's always a good thing to obviously be in the championship game. Excited to be back. Going to Arlington, getting ready to play a really, really good Baylor team, as we know. It's been fun the last couple of years. The difference in having the championship game versus not, and I think we all understand why Big 12 made the decision to go to it. I think there's been a lot of positives, a lot of advantages. Great game, obviously a great venue to play in, and two really, really good football teams getting ready to go at it, like it should be, and I think very fitting for the Big 12, the kind of year that the league has had, how strong the league has been. Very fitting to have two good teams here at the end of this thing to duke it out. So we're excited to get down there and play. Our guys are very excited to be back in this game and also have a lot of momentum after these this closing stretch of wins. Like I said the other night, excited about a lot of things we did against Oklahoma State. Did a lot of good things really on all three sides. Certainly not perfect. Still know there are best games out there, and we're still chasing that. But we're excited about some of the things we're doing. And medically, the only thing, Jalen Redmond didn't travel with us the other night. It's a medical decision, totally unrelated to what he went through previously. So he is questionable for this week. That's it.
Okay, we'll start with Al.
If the committee asked you why the winner of this game with Baylor to get into the playoffs, what would your answer be?
I don't know. Ask me after the game. I think our recipe over the last few years, you guys have probably gotten tired of me saying it, but it's the truth. I mean, it's just win. And, you got to trust that how you schedule a non-conference, you've got to trust that the strength of your conference, the quality of people that if you are able to beat, the quality of people that you've beaten, you got to trust that that's going to be enough. And like I said, none of us have any control other than trying to win all the games on our schedule. We've been able to get 11 of the 12 and getting ready to play another really good football team here. So I know some coaches like to stand up and do the politicking thing. That's just not me. We're going to coach hard and try to win our games, and if you think we're good enough, put us in there. That's about it.
Okay, James Hale.
Lincoln, since the second half of the Baylor game, you guys have played the best defense in the conference easily. You're the number one defense in the league now. Before that, for 2.5 games, you struggled a little bit. What turned it around? What got it going? What was the key thing that turned this defense into the best defense in the league?
I don't know if there's some eureka moment. I mean, we've certainly caused turnovers, since the second half, of that game, and been pretty consistent with that. That's certainly been big, and I think we keep getting a little bit better each week. It's a constant climb every year, even if your system's 4 or 5 years old. I mean, it's always a constant climb, and then especially in the first year of a system, totally new coaches, scheme, everything. It takes time, and if you're coaching it the right way, and if your players are responding the right way, then it should get better. And our guys have bought in, and we're certainly look a lot different than we did even early in the season when we were when we played well too. So we're getting better, and we've adapted to ways that people have attacked us, and young guys have continued to grow and evolve, and I give our staff a lot of credit.
Dean, Levins, everyone.
Coach Lincoln Jalen continued to play well, but it seemed like his mistakes and no turnovers were something that stood out from the outside. What did you think?
Yeah, no, he played well. He ran well again. Obviously held on to the ball. Ball security was better. Decision making was good, kind of like it's been. Threw the ball a little bit better, which was than he did. I mean, TCU was kind of the one the one exception. He's thrown the ball extremely well all year and was just slightly off in the TCU game. Other than that, he's thrown it well, and he threw it really well in very, very challenging conditions the other night too. So, yeah, was very much in control and poised and confident, played extremely well.
Eric Bailey.
Lincoln, how do you guard yourself against overanalyzing that first game? You got a lot of film, a lot of things to look at, but is it important not to put too much weight in that, or do you use it to an extreme almost?
Everybody's different. You know, these games the last few years have probably helped us in that, you know, guys that have been in college, you don't normally play the same opponent, you know, twice in the same year, and that felt very different, you know, for TCU a couple of years ago. I mean, very, very different. Now it feels more regular, so I'm glad our team's done well enough that it feels regular. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's not a whole lot different than studying a team from the past, this or that. I mean, it's you know, that's kind of the back and forth you always go through as coaches, is, you know, how much to analyze, how much to scheme, how much not to. That's kind of the fun in it. And but it is a little bit of a new dimension with the second game, and, you know, thankfully our staff has had a lot of good experience there.
Ryan Aber.
Lincoln, since missing the first meeting between these teams, CD, we haven't seen the level of explosive plays. I know part of that goes to the way y'all running the ball, but how is his health right now, and also how has he handled things mentally, being in, I don't want to say different role, but just, you know, not being as involved as he was early in the season?
His health's fine. Yeah, he's been fine. You know, he's handled things well. You know, he's been through a bunch of these battles. You know, and he understands. I know we've said it a bunch this year. It's really the same answer when you guys asked me about the running backs before. I mean, you're going to have games where you get really involved and games where it just doesn't find its way your way. I mean, that's just the nature of playing this game and being an offensive skill player. You know, where other than the quarterback, all these other guys are dependent on how the game goes on and other people at times for their opportunities. So he's still a guy. Obviously, we want to continue to get involved, but he's handled it well. Our whole team's handled it well. Those things have probably been bigger stories on the outside than they've honestly been within our walls.
Brendan Drum.
Yeah, Lincoln, you guys played an epic game a couple weeks ago. How much emphasis do you put on, you know, the first half and then comparison to the second half when watching the film? I mean, you split it up. How much emphasis do y'all put on that?
Yeah, I mean, this is a different game. You know, everything is different about this game. I mean, it's not a road game for us. It's not a home game for them. Championship games are different. They feel different. Everything about them is different. And so, yeah, I mean, our focus has got to just be on this one, and you know, how we can play our very best. And we know we're going to have to play well to beat Baylor. I mean, they're a darn good football team. They played well, you know, studying them up until our game, and then obviously they played extremely well after. And so, you know, we realize the challenge it's going to be, but it's going to be its own game for sure.
John Hoover.
Lincoln, you mentioned the defensive buy-in earlier. I asked Kenneth about that. I said, was it across the board? Did you guys buy in? And I asked him if you were surprised that it happened so fast. And he took us another step further and told us about a conversation he had with you when you brought in, you know, defensive coordinator change and changes in the staff. He talked about a conversation he had with you and how he put his trust in you, that you were making the right call.
Mm-hmm.
He was buying in automatically. Did you have that with everybody, that conversation on the defense? Did you pick a couple of leaders, or?
Not every single person individually, but I think that message was sent, you know, that, you know, look, if you don't, I can promise you this, if you don't buy in, it's not going to work. I mean, period. That's the one thing I can promise you. You know, if you do buy in, it gives us a chance. And then it goes to, you've got to trust us that we're bringing in the right people. You don't know these guys. You know, you've never met them. They didn't recruit you. You don't know them. But if you will trust them, I think you'll see what we see. is that we've got a great group coming in here and something we think can be very, very special on that side of the ball. And but I do remember specifically telling them I could go bring in Vince Lombardi himself, and if you guys don't believe in it, it's not going to work. I mean, it's got to be. Your buy-in is just as important, if not more, than who we bring in. And if we get it right and you guys buy in and we do bring in the right person, then it's going to get pretty fun.
And to that extent, how impressed or maybe surprised on your part are you that it has occurred like this, that you guys' defensive rankings have shot up and all that stuff?
I'm excited about it. I'm not surprised about it. Our guys have done a good job, and it's not been overnight. I mean, it's been a process. There's been growing pains. There's been bumps in the road. I mean, there always is. And but our guys have stayed true to it, and we've especially done it in key moments in big games. And that's to be able to do that kind of early in this, kind of defensive regime and kind of this new era defensively here is exciting to see.
We'll go to George Stoya.
Coach, I know you don't like to get too into specifics on plays, but the trick play, the reverse pass back to the quarterback, you've run that a few times now, going all the way back to the Rose Bowl. What exactly inspired that play, and then what is it about Nick Bascom that you trust him? He seems to be the guy that's always throwing on the receiver passing.
Well, Bascom, he plays a lot for us, and just we've got several guys we trust on that, but he's certainly towards the top of the list. Has always thrown the ball well and made good decisions. Just something we had it for a couple weeks and just kind of been looking for the right time, and just everything lined up where we thought it was the right play at the right time.
Tyler Palmatier. Lincoln, Matt mentioned something on the Big 12 call this morning that considering what the Big 12 has with the schedule and the rematch, that he feels like that champion ought to play for the college football playoff every year. Is he onto something there? Do you feel like Big 12 should be given some special consideration based on the layout?
That's just not the system right now. I mean, in my core, I think every Power 5 conference champion should play. But that's neither here nor there now. Within our current system, I do believe that us playing every team in our league and then the championship game being verse 1, verse 2 should hold more weight. I do, and I think it has. So that's as far as what happens in the future, we'll see.
I was curious about one more thing. When you guys as coaches go back and watch game film and you see maybe what you perceive as negative body language, how do you coach that up and try and correct that after games? And how much do you chalk it up to there's a lot of emotion in a football game? Like, how do you tell the difference between what's bad and what's just part of the emotion of a football game?
I think you got to know your players. You got to know them, and is this something different from the way they carry themselves on a daily basis or normally in a game? I mean, you get all the time that if something doesn't go right, guys are maybe not be jumping up and down. You understand that, but we've really emphasized it a lot the last few weeks. If you looked at our sideline the last few weeks, you see a ton of positive body language, and I don't think it's a coincidence with the way we've played, the way we've been able to play when games have gotten tight. I think this team has a lot of positive vibes right now, but it's in general. I mean, it's a tough thing sometimes in the moment because players' expectations are high, and coaches and everybody, and it's such an emotional game that you want emotional players, but they got to channel it the right way.
Aaron Emick.
Lincoln, have you gotten to know Matt Rule at all?
A little bit, yeah. Just some conversations before games, and then certainly at the coaches' meetings the last few years. Like him, real personable guy. Seems like a really good family guy too. So I've always enjoyed visiting with him. We've had good conversations, and he's obviously been a big positive for Baylor, for this league, and seems like he's really done a good job. Kind of not being from this area, coming down and just like anybody that moves kind of a new part of the country, world, whatever it is, he's done a great job, I think adapting and has a really good way about him.
Yeah, the outside world sees just the fact that he's taken 1-11 and turned it into 11-1 in such a short time, and that's enough to blow a lot of people away. But as a coach, you might even have more appreciation of the work that must have gone into something like that.
Yeah, no, I do. I mean, I've never been through some of the things that they went through, so it's hard to totally put yourself in that situation. But they were able to steady the ship, and they were able to, at least from the outside, look like they were able to get some buy-in in those early years, even and maybe even when they weren't winning a ton of games yet. But those guys were, playing hard for them and getting better, and I think there was just some positive momentum, just getting from 1-11 just to winning, just to winning a few, and then now what's happened is those are all the same guys that are still playing for them, and with a couple of key additions that have done well, and so now you got to give them a lot of credit. I mean, that's obviously it's a lot different situation than what I walked into, and they're each have their challenges. You walk into 1-11, then winning 3 is a positive. If I'd have won 3 my first year, that would also been my last year. And so, I mean, they're all challenging, but what he's done, what that staff's done there, it's been great for this league, and I have a ton of respect for them.
Okay, we'll go to Bob Brisbillo.
Yeah, Lincoln, you start off and it's great to be here. So that means you're not on the road yet, which you're used to. But what the schedule being 1 week late.
Yeah.
How much crazier or how much tougher does that make that heading into signing day?
Yeah, it's tough. We knew this was coming. We even petitioned NCAA league, all that a while back, trying to, thinking if you get qualified for your conference championship game, you ought to trying to get 1 or 2 more days recruiting, maybe even like that Sunday. I'm sure all the teams that didn't think they were going to be in the conference championship voted it down. So, I think we had support for 10 teams. The other 50 didn't agree. Imagine that. So, yeah, it is. It's challenging. It's not good. It's not good for the sport. It makes zero sense. That you qualify for your championship game, but you're penalized in maybe the most important recruiting point of the year. So now we'll get the positive is, hopefully those players know why we're not on the road as much. We're going to be out bits and pieces this week, but hopefully they know why we're out there, and at least, they'll be watching us on Saturday, which is a good thing. So we'll deal with it. It's kind of the way the calendar fell, but I do believe it'll fall like this again at some point, and it is going to be something we're going to need to discuss, because having 1 week to be on the road before signing day is not, it's not ideal.
Cliff Brown.
Yeah, Coach, what if anything impressed you most about Charlie Brewer the first time you guys played him, and what have you seen since then that concerns you going into this weekend?
I think he's a really tough kid. On top of being obviously very talented player, but I think real tough kid. Seen him get hit a lot and gets back up. So I think brings toughness to the position, which I think is always a huge key at that position. And then I think he's developed. I mean, he's grown through the years, and he's throwing the ball well. He's an athletic guy back there, a competitor. Comes from a great line of really, really good quarterbacks, as we all know. So he's done a tremendous job leading the team.
Okay, let's go to Jason Kersey.
Yeah, Lincoln, you guys had a lot of success with the play the other night, pulling the guard and the tackle. I'm just wondering, and I know you don't like to get into strategy stuff much, but can you quantify how difficult something like that is from a precision standpoint, especially when you have a new offensive line who haven't played together, and a guy like RJ who hadn't been with these guys at all until the summer?
Yeah, it's extremely difficult. It's you could sit up here for hours just talking about that one play. I mean, it is. It's tough, but it's been a good play for us over the last few years, and we've worked hard at it. It's something that we're pretty bought in with. It's not one of those plays you can just halfway do. You're either all in or not. I could use the Mike Leach bacon, chicken, egg thing right there, but I'll stay away from that. Only one can do that. But no, yeah, it's been a successful play for us. Our backs have done well, and this young O-line's getting better at it.
Is that something that you weren't able to do as much earlier in the season because of that, the belt line coming together? Or?
I wouldn't say that. I don't know that I would go that far. Just, week to week kind of changes for us, as we grow and evolve. But it was good for us the other night.
Barry Trammell?
Yeah, Lincoln, on the Basquin play, I think it was 2nd and goal from the 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then later in the game, on the other end, on the 1st and goal from the 4, you ran a reverse with CD. How much of that is just thinking, let's get in the end zone any way we can, and we think we can do it here? And how much of that is just screwing with Baylor, getting in stuff? Because it seemed like if you hand the ball to Kennedy Brooks a couple of times, you're going to get in the end zone.
Yeah, no, nothing. Honestly, nothing for Baylor or any other future opponents. I mean, just in that moment, just trying to win, trying to just do simply what you think is best. And we've, with the way we've been running the ball, it's exciting because we've been able to do some good things. The line of scrimmage backs are running well, and then we still got some exciting guys on the perimeter that can make you pay too. So, reverse should have scored too. I screwed up and had Rambo block the wrong guy. But yeah, no, I mean, I just don't ever want people to be able to tee off on us, and so we try to be, multiple here and there, and thought we had some good opportunities at it the other night.
I don't know if you call it the Philly special, but is that?
They call it the Sooner special.
Yeah, but is that a play that works particularly on the goal line? Is that something you could try at 50 and it would do reasonably well?
Yeah, we threw one to Jalen, I think, a little bit further out against Kansas maybe this year, so yeah, I mean it just, plays like that, there's so much to it. I mean, your skill set, what they do defensively, the timing, I mean, there's a lot that's got to be right for those to work. So like everybody says, when they work, they look great. When they don't, they look like a disaster. So there's normally no middle ground with those. There's no dirty 3-yard gains on those. It's awesome or awful.
Back left to Daniel Dwyer.
Lincoln, you talked about how these games are, playing in these championship games are starting to feel more regular for you guys, which is obviously a good thing, but does the mindset, is it a little different this year? Because you guys were kind of how Baylor is coming into this one, losing the regular season contest last year, and then getting the upper hand, winning it in the championship. Does the mindset change a little bit for you guys at all this year heading in, knowing that you took that regular season contest?
I don't think so. I mean, the year before we had beaten TCU here, and then then played them again, and so we've been on both sides. And I don't remember last year feeling much different because of that. Even the lead up to the game against Texas last year, there wasn't a whole lot of talk about the first one. It was just trying to focus on just playing our best ball, and and then trusting in the end that would be enough. And so I think that's key. I mean, I think. Again, it is a new game. It's a different game, and there'll be different bounces of the ball. It'll unfold differently, and you just got to be ready to go play your best.
Dean?
Coach, Boogie Radley-Hiles appears to have just gained by leaps and bounds. Can you explain why? I assume some's the coaching, some's him.
Yeah, combination of all. It developed physically. The offseason was really good for him. Coach Grinch has done a great job with him. He's really fit into what we're doing and responded to the way that Alex has coached him. And then I think some of it is just growing up, maturing, going through. He had a lot of great moments for us last year. Had a lot of tough moments for us last year. When you play a freshman as much as he played last year, that's normally going to be the case. And he's grown from it. He's learned. He's got a much better feel, I think, for what it takes to be a really good player at this level, and the fine line between looking great and looking very average, and just how hard it is each and every day, and you got to have that appreciation. And a lot of times the best way for him to learn that is to go through some growing pains. So he's come out of it well and he's played well the majority of the season and really had a good stretch here the last several games.
Okay, left side, Ivan Mazel.
Thinking that some coaches that would not, that when they play poorly, they don't look at the tape, they just let it lie. You watch the first half of the Baylor game any differently, knowing you were probably going to play them again, or does it matter at all?
No, yeah, I mean, no, it does. I don't think we really treated it any different because there was so much at that point after watching, after the game and watching as a staff and watching it with the guys. There was so much to learn from it of things under our control that we did very poorly and that we did better in the second half. So yeah, I think every coach has been through one of those. A couple of those in their career where they just trash it. I can think of one or two off the top of my head. There was a lot to learn from, and our team needed to learn a lot then, and there'll still be a lot we can learn from it now.
Brandon Drum.
Yeah, Lincoln, after the game, I asked you about Nick Benito and David Webu.
Mm-hmm.
After watching the film, did you see anything else by them that just kind of jumped off the screen, because both seemed to have really good ball games?
Yeah, no, I think like we said, they were very active. It's good to see, they put themselves in position to make some plays, and they've been doing that, but they really finished a lot of plays, and that was really good to see. They both had their moments this year, but they consistently finished plays, got off blocks, got ball carriers down. They were both effective in coverage. Nick was a big factor I think they were both involved on fourth down stops. Nick on the run and David on the little play action pass there on the sideline that he had great coverage on. So yeah, it was good to see them, again, not just being in the position, but finishing in a big environment and a big football game.
Al?
Jalen's about to break Jack Mildren's record for rushing for a quarterback set in 1971. Did you have ever envisioned when you got here that this has a tradition of running quarterbacks, you'd have a quarterback that would break that record?
No. I'm with you there. No. I mean, you never know what you're going to get and skill set wise what you're going to have, and I love having mobile guys, and I think being able to run the quarterback some here and there is a great thing to be able to do offensively. But now to say we'd have a guy rush for that many yards, I probably would have lost that bet. You'd probably envision it being more like what we had last year with a guy that really fast and that could break long ones or scrambles, all that. But some of the ways we've ran Jalen has been different, but it's been fun, and proud of our staff and team for evolving their skill sets, and it's certainly helped us.
We've got time for two more if you have any. James?
How big of a weapon has breakage become for you? I mean, he hasn't missed yet, so that has to be a huge weapon going into this game.
Yeah, we got confidence in him for sure. That one, was real impressive the other night, kicking in those conditions, and those were important field goals. He was equally as good on kickoffs the other night too. So no, his development's been key to our special teams play, field position, scoring. I mean, he's a very important player right now.
Last one, John Hoover.
Yeah, follow up then on what you said about Jalen. You gave credit to your staff for being adaptable. How about yourself? That's not something that you've ever had in the toy box before, a 1,200-yard rushing quarterback. How's that changed you as a play caller and as an offensive coordinator, play designer?
It's been fun. It's different, but I mean, every year is a little different. Your skill sets are always different. People always want to point to the quarterback, but it's just you got to be able to look at the 11 guys you're going to put out there, and how do you think you can create advantages for yourself? And that's we got a group in there that enjoys doing that, and we certainly have got a base system and concepts that we're very committed to, but we also want to have the ability to branch out and do what our people do well and do things that give other people trouble. And so yeah, it's been fun. I mean, it's been different, but a lot of fun, and hopefully the best is yet to come.